So the fall can be such an exciting time in our garden spaces for two reasons. One is we're finally getting some reprieve from some of that hot summer heat that we may have experienced, and the heat may have zapped some of those plants in our yard. And two, it's a perfect opportunity to plant up some new beautiful things that really will take our garden into the fall and create some beautiful lasting beauty that we can all enjoy. Today I'm going to talk about some things that I picked up here locally, along with some things that I've ordered online, and you're going to see exactly what condition these are when I open them up here in a moment. Stick around, can't wait to share with you what we have planned to plant in our garden. It's always exciting to get an opportunity to plant something new in our garden space, and that's exactly how I feel about these beautiful plants. I was able to find these color 6-packs of these violas at a local nursery, Armstrong Garden Centers, and they were on sale for $2.99 a 6-pack. And guys, these things are showstoppers. They never stop blooming. Violas are great. They don't necessarily need to be deadheaded. They continually bloom. I have these coming back every year. I even have some violas that have started in the cracks of my concrete. They're that hardy, and man, they are so happy. Look at these beautiful colors. This is the penny citrus mix. So in this variety pack, you have 3 different colors. You have this really pretty yellow that kind of fades into a creamy chiffon color. Then you have your darker yellow that has that little edging that makes it look like a little lion's face. It's super nice to see that. And then you have the solid orange there. And these 3 colors are just beautiful for fall. One of the main reasons why I'm so excited is because here in the near future, in like a couple of weeks, actually a month from now, we're going to be hosting a bridal shower for my daughter Grace, who's getting married in January, and I'm super excited. And since I've had so many of my annuals that have done well with being cut back, and also some of the annuals that had to be removed, I can't wait to get some new things in the space to really kind of enhance the look of our backyard as we have our guests here celebrating the future marriage of my daughter and my future son-in-law, Christian. And so their wedding colors are golds and like pinks and burgundies and things like that. So I'm really trying to kind of rein in on that theme. And I found these gorgeous pansies. I don't usually plant a lot of pansies, but I could not resist how beautiful these are. This deep, rich burgundy color with just a little bit of a yellow outline with that dark face. This is the Majestic Giants 2 red with blotch, and man, these are really, really pretty. They're just full of blooms. I probably, when I plant these, will give them a little bit of a deadheading as the blooms become spent to kind of encourage the growth through November. But these are going to last all season long, probably even through the winter here in Southern California, Zone 10A, and they won't probably succumb to the hot weather until spring turns hot in about 6 months from now. So this is going to be so exciting to get these in, and I think these colors throughout the yard are going to be beautiful. I'm going to replant some of our containers. I'm going to pop some of these in the ground and just give a little bit of color here and there. And when I'm doing my containers, I'm going to also add a little bit of this really beautiful alternanthera, which is so pretty. I'm going to give a little bit of a trim to these because they're a little bit tall to encourage growth from down here on the bottom, but I love these because the underside of the leaves is one color, which is a really nice beautiful plum color, and then the top part is a little bit of a greenish blue, and so you have this multicolored foliage. It doesn't necessarily bloom, but it's really about the foliage that you can stick in with any sort of combination of plants in the fall. Not quite sure what I'm going to do with this, but I'm thinking I'm going to get some classic mums and add to a container and really have some beautiful fall colors that'll really enhance the color of this foliage right here. You know, and these will grow between 16 to 20 inches high. So I really do want to encourage more of a thick growth down here towards the bottom. And this is already sprouting down here in that area. So if I give it a little top here and there, it's just going to encourage more growth from these stems, which will give me more of a nice bush-like growth habit. So alternanthera, beautiful, love these. And it's been a while since I planted those, but let's move on from the violas and pansies and these other plants, and let's look at here the Proven Winners order that I just did. Now, the reason why I'm purchasing so many is, first of all, that these were on sale, which they were like, I believe, 35% off. They had like a flash sale over the last week, and they're already here only 3 days later. And then also in my last video, I explained that some of my Calibrachoa didn't make it through the summer heat and the humidity. So a lot of those plants were on my wall behind me. I have 3 that have survived out of the 8. I love the height that comes from planting on the wall there, but I don't necessarily want to plant the same plants because I want to put something in there that's really hardy. And so I've ordered some petunias that I've already have in my yard in my back bed, and then also in my raised tiered containers. They're like a cocoa line container that they have turned out beautifully. So I'm going to bring in some of those colors so that it kind of matches with the theme of what we're trying to achieve for the bridal shower. So let's take a look at what these are and how they come this time of year. This is going to be kind of interesting. I order in the spring, but I don't necessarily order too many things in the fall. And if I'm guessing, these plants have been around since the spring and they've been in their containers all this time. So some of them may have been trimmed back. Who knows what they're gonna look like, but I'm really excited. And the thing with the Proven Winners plants, especially the petunias, if they are trimmed back, it only encourages even more growth. Now, I love how these are packed. They're packed in individual containers, small containers. Perfect. And the really cool thing about the design of how they ship these is they have little notches here in the sides, and it holds the pot down so that if this entire thing gets turned upside down in shipment, it keeps the pot at the bottom so that the heavy pot doesn't mash whatever plant growth is on the top there. So this is a really cool design, and I really love ordering from them. I can tell you right now that I can feel the moisture through the container, so these have been watered really well. Now let's see what they look like. All right, so in order to pull this out, I need to move this notch forward to kind of dislodge the pot there. And then I'll pull it out just like that. And these look fantastic. Okay, so this is looking pretty nice. This is the Supertunia Black Cherry, and I have this planted all over my yard, and it's going to be perfect in those containers on the wall. I love how it's full of blooms. It's not leggy. I can just plant it just like it is, straight into the container, and then eventually over time it'll push more growth once it gets acclimated to its new spot. So that looks really, really nice. I'm super impressed with that, especially this time of year, this late in the season. I'm not quite sure if this plant itself was planted in the spring. They might have done multiple plantings throughout the season, and it kind of looks like that because it doesn't have that dark or that woody center that you would normally find if this were an older plant that had been trimmed back. It looks pretty fresh, so that's really cool. And already in bloom. Love that. All right, let's check out the other ones. You can tell this is the beautiful, brand new for this year, white angel face Angelonia. That is extremely healthy, guys. Look at this plant though. This could have easily been broken off in shipment, and it is absolutely stunning. Now, the Angelonia, the Wedgwood Pink that I ordered in springtime, they were really, really small when they came. So this is really a nice size. So this is gonna look beautiful if I wanna add any height to my fall containers. Not quite sure where I'm gonna put this, but you can't go wrong with white. It's absolutely beautiful. So angel face white Angelonia, beautiful. All right. And this next one is the Supertunia Plum Veined, Supertunia Mini Vista Plum Veined. Now this has not been cut back like I was thinking they might be. This is a relatively fresh plant. Oh my gosh, guys, full of blooms. That is a win for sure, especially this time of year. The thing with this Mini Vista is it's absolute nonstop blooming power. I mean, I can really verify that all of my plum veined have done so well all season. They have never stopped blooming. They continually bloom. They have not got gross and leggy. The ones that I had in my containers, I did trim them up a little bit to kind of like stimulate growth from the center. But the ones that I have in the ground are outstanding. Probably one of my favorite ones that I've ever planted before. They've just taken just a little bit of water soluble fertilizer every 2 or 3 weeks, the ones that are in the ground anyways, and they look absolutely stunning. So this is a win for sure, and I can't wait to get these. And I just love these two colors together. I mean, who would have ever thought, but it looks really, really beautiful, and it goes perfectly with the wedding colors. And so that's going to be really nice to get these on the wall and see how they bloom through the fall and hopefully even through the winter, because these Supertunias are pretty cold tolerant down to a light frost. I mean, a hard freeze obviously will zap them, definitely, depending on your area. But here in Southern California, we don't get below 32 degrees, and that's probably our minimum that we see, but they can handle that and they can do really well. All right, can't wait to see how the other ones look. Okay, this one definitely got toppled over. So I'm gonna very gingerly try to put this back down in there. Okay. So this one is definitely a miss. All right, so I'm going to try to save some of that soil by putting that in there and not really disturbing that root ball right here. So see if I can gingerly put that on top there without really making a hot mess of that. I think this is going to be fine. Piecing that back together. And once again, this kind of verifies that these are relatively young plants. They were not started in the spring like I anticipated them being. I have ordered plants before from Proven Winners, and it looked like they had been severely cut back, but these look like they're relatively fresh plants, so that will be fine. It's not broken off at the stem. Its root ball was still intact, even though it was kind of upside down in there. Whew, I'm glad I could save that one. These are really resistant, you guys, so they can handle a lot of, tossing and turning. If they're broken off at the base, of course, there's no coming back from that. And if that happens, you just reach out to the company if you are mail ordering these, and they'll just probably ask you for a picture of the condition that they've came in and give you a refund. I've had really good experience with customer service from Creekside Nursery, ordered from them before, Proven Winners Direct, and also Proven Winners. But for the most part, they come looking like this. And it's interesting because this one was toppled over in the same box that these Angelonias were in, and they were absolutely fine. So you just never know. So let's check out the next container. Okay, so that's it. I couldn't be happier with these beautiful colors. Of course, I'm not going to plant all of these right next to each other. These will be grouped together in a grouping, maybe a little bit of the Alternanthera in there with maybe a little bit of like a half container, which would be really nice, kind of like a low profile container. That would look really pretty together, those two things. Obviously, the Supertunias and the Mini Vistas are going to be planted alongside each other on the wall there, which I know that these colors work really well together, and it's going to look magnificent over time. I'm sure it's going to be beautiful. And then the angel face white Angelonia, just towering so beautifully there. None of those branches broken off in transit, which is somewhat of a miracle considering how upside down one of these were when I opened them up. But yeah, I'm very happy, and I know that all of these are going to survive. I'm going to water the ones that just came in the mail, although some of them are damp, some of them aren't. So I don't know quite what that means. You would think that they would water all of them or give them a little bit of moisture before they ship them, but that's not a problem. I can just do that really quickly, and I'll be planting these very soon. Again, viola is such a great fall annual to plant in the yard. They just keep coming up and coming up year after year. And then of course the Supertunias and the Mini Vistas, they're hardy down to 32 degrees. And when I plant them up on the wall, they're just gonna cascade over the side, giving a really beautiful, solid presence of color that I think is gonna enhance that space. It's unfortunate that everything didn't make it, but that's reality. Sometimes we have things that get zapped by the heat, or maybe an insect or a critter grabs something, and you know how frustrating that could be. I always hear from people who are constantly battling those critters in their yard, whether it's an insect or an animal. It is kind of disheartening, but it's something that we all have to deal with, and not everything makes it. It's the reality of gardening. It just happens sometimes. Sometimes we have those awesome successes, and sometimes, you know, things need to be replaced. But I always take that as an opportunity to put something new in the space. We don't like to lose things, but if we do, then that's a great opportunity to add something new into our garden. Until next time, everybody, thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you very soon in the next video. Bye.